something like Moby-Dick, you can see the artifice in, but you kind of go with it regardless. Would you include something like that in your example?
To a degree. Like here in this chapter, I'll give you an example. Here they're talking about TV shows, and we find out that Paulie doesn't know what the latest TV shows of the early '60s are. So that they're talking about the television schedule, and Paulie's about 5 or 10 years behind the times, and so it shows you how focused Paulie is, and so that's a good idea of characterization here. This talk about the television shows that are popular in the early 1960s here shows how focused Paulie is on the things that he wants. And Paulie has obviously succeeded because he's very focused on things. And we see this become Paulie Maravelli, in a sense, to just use the Moby Dick, is sort of the Ahab of the book. He's focused on this goal of getting his family legitimized within the criminal element, and he's blind to the machinations of Big Frank working against him. And that's what ends up, just like Ahab, he goes down like Ahab because he's got his eyes focused on the wrong thing.
For as great as Moby Dick is, though, even the ending scene, uh, Ahab's last monologue towards it is full of artifice. I don't think artifice necessarily is a bad thing, but when you can see it, it certainly lessens the impact in terms of its realism. And this is something that you don't necessarily see in Norwegian, and when you do, it's kind of inverted later on. There's a section where there's this soap operatic almost incident occur, and then you realize that the narrator points out the absurdity of it, and then characters will interrupt each other, whereas characters in Moby Dick, they'll go on long poetic monologues that you don't really expect of whalemen and vicious bastards like Ahab.